security. Now let's talk about this. The new coach, I'm assuming Kevin Stefanski won't be back. If you're a new coach, your job this first year is to evaluate the talent on the first roster. Because let me tell you about how this works as a new coach. I'm not about to start my clock on a brand new quarterback right now. Let me show you how this works. If you are a coach, the thing that you could always hang your hat on and learn from Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski was here 6 years. And you know why Kevin Stefanski got 6 years on the job? It's because he kept his trump card in his back pocket. You say, what's the trump card, G. Bush? The trump card is any new coach automatically gets to hire or gets to choose his own quarterback. The job really don't start unless you're grossly incompetent. You're going to get at least one bite at the apple when it comes to picking your guy. If you get there and they're already a drafted quarterback, you can work with them and you get the most out of them. And then you'll decide whether or not they're a franchise guy. And in the case of the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski got to stay around as long as he did because he was here after they got Baker Mayfield. When they got Baker, he had been here and he didn't draft him. Dorsey drafted him. But here's the point. They also made the determination that Baker Mayfield wasn't worth his second contract and he wasn't a franchise quarterback. So guess what they did? Kevin Stefanski, by the way, some could say didn't get to choose his quarterback the second time because the ownership group made it an evaluation that Deshaun Watson, even though it was a franchise quarterback, had came about in ways that we don't normally see and came available, and they feel like they had to do exactly whatever they needed to do to get him. Now, was Kevin Stefanski on board with it? Sure he was. Like, let's not act like they twisted his arm. I mean, they've all been on record saying that everybody was excited about Deshaun Watson. That didn't work. Well, guess what? When the Deshaun Watson thing didn't work, Kevin Stefanski got last year and he got this year. And in this year, he said, who is this guy? They had the number 2 overall pick. He could have went in there and said, give me Jackson Dart. They could have done a lot of things. And you know what he said? Give me Dylan Gabriel. You see, your job actually starts. You're on the clock the second you pick your quarterback. When you put your stamp of approval on a quarterback, your time starts. Very rarely do you get 2 shots at a quarterback. Because if you miss on a first-round quarterback, that sets you back years. So if you're a new coach and I come into this situation and maybe I got a first-round grade on Mendoza, but I ain't sold on him. I think he's cool. Maybe you think this is a quarterback class with 1 quarterback. And I take a look at the evaluation of this roster and I say, well, listen, man, even if I don't really love Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel or Deshaun Watson, that first year is a wash. That first year is a mulligan. The first year, I'm just trying to see what we got. I would rather go into this draft thinking like, 2026, I'm going to find out what we got in the room. 2026, I'm going to find out if we got something. And then I got a year of data. I got a year of being around to do. And then I can make an informed decision going in 27 if I want to spend my wild card, my trump card on getting a quarterback. But if you want to come into this situation and you say, I'm staking my career on Mendoza, well, your clock just started because you will be attached to that quarterback. If Mendoza does not play well and he flames out at quarterback, chances are you're getting fired. That's what it is. You may get fired second. Andrew Berry will be the first dude to go, but you just cut one of your years in half if he ain't good. You went from, I got 4 years to make this thing happen, to all of a sudden you got 3. Because if he don't ball out that first year, you got to understand, you use those picks to trade up to go get him. So you know I ain't got an offensive line. I ain't got receivers. So now you might have had to trade something in the next year's draft to even get him. Okay. So now next year in your second year, you ain't no good. Mendoza was getting knocked around. Now you got to go find linemen. You got 2 first-round picks? Nope. You got 1 first-round pick. Maybe you don't even have that if you got to package something. So now you don't even have the ammunition as a head coach to go out and get a bona fide stud type tackle that may be available. You don't got no leverage to go get you Jeremiah Smith or somebody else that can really do it big. But think about this. Understand this. Even if the Cleveland Browns are bad next year, right? And you said, let's roll with Shedeur Sanders, that's not on your CD. That's not on your stipend. You know whose stipend that is? That's Andrew Berry's. And if Shedeur Sanders don't become a guy, that's on him, right? Then you have the ammunition to say, all right, I'm going to go get my guy in 27. And guess what? Once you get your guy in 27, your clock officially starts. You'll be judged by what he does, not the previous quarterback. So if you're a new dude, why am I even thinking about it? I'm bolstering my situation. Look, I'm going to get these linemen. I'm going to get me a receiver so that even if Shedeur Sanders don't turn out to be the guy, okay, cool. But let me even tell you this. If Shedeur Sanders does turn out to be the guy, guess what I've done? I now have a quarterback, which makes my job much easier. And now I can accelerate the growth of my team by saying, oh, in 26, we found out Shedeur Sanders was a great quarterback. Oh, guess what? We also have a young nucleus of guys that are proving themselves. And the picks in 27, and then picks in 27, guess what? I can use that to further get better. And my clock ain't even started like that yet. You're going to get more time. But why would you put your name next to somebody you don't even really know? How do you even know what Shedeur Sanders is? I need to see him for a year. I might got me something. I don't believe. Maybe I want to see with my eyes. Maybe a different coordinator make him look different. Everything. So to me, I'm looking at it like this. Once they told me that they was bringing Deshaun Watson back and that was going to be there, they told you what they was doing. They've already put different restraints on their quarterback room to start with. This actually ain't even a real conversation, to be honest with you. The Browns are smoke screening because they'll probably want we wanting to joust and get the guy they want in the draft. But to me, if you look at it, if you just look at using regular common sense, Cleveland Browns ain't drafting no quarterback in 26. And it's basic reasons. And they ain't got nothing to do with Mendoza or Shedeur Sanders.